Hi, it's Mike at Phase 1 DJ Store. Got a really exciting product to show you today. I know there's going to be a lot of videos out there for this. This is my spin on it. I didn't want to like it because I didn't want to buy it. For myself, that is. I wanted it for the shop. But unfortunately, I really do like it. And I've had to sneak this in the house past the wife. And she hasn't noticed yet. But she'll find out, and I'm going to get into trouble. Today we're going to have a look at the DJM900 NXS2. And when I got my hands on it in the shop, I was like, I need one of these in my life, in my home studio. What we're going to do is we'll chop the video up into little bits, points of interest and stuff like that. Reasons I like it, the main reasons that just absolutely leapt out to me why I wanted this. USB on the send and return. We can split it up. I'll go through this in the video a little bit later. That was that. 2 USB ports over here. Again, that sold it for me. We've got parameter control on the sound colour effects. Sold it for me. And the sound quality of it sold it for me. The rest was just all gravy. It's all good. I'm suitably impressed with it. Like I say, we're going to chop the video up into little sections. Obviously, if there's bits you're not interested in, fast forward the video, because this could be quite a lengthy film. Just quickly, I'm not going to start quoting specifications and, you know, all technical data, but I think a lot of the work that's gone into this has been about the sound quality. And do you know what? It's better. They've improved it. There's no two ways about it. The sound engine in this is better. Check the specs. I'm not going to start quoting numbers and figures because I just can't remember them all. All I know is it does sound better. It's built better. Even down to the little things. It's the little details coming around to the back of the unit. The little details. Massive grounding screws for connecting your grounding screws from your turntables. Much more robust. I've never seen a mixer from Pioneer that has had a decent grounding screw. They were little silly plasticky things. This is the proper job. Right, all gold terminals on the back. We've got, just looking at the back, we've got all the pro connections that I expect. One thing I have noticed is the mic port is on the back of the unit. I think they've done that to make some space up here to get 2 USB cards in. And you know what? A mixer of this level should have dual USB. There's that many people out there using timecode systems now. Now we'll be able to swap from DJ to DJ without all that kerfuffle in the DJ box. Well, I'm going to plug my computer out, and it's ridiculous. So they've resolved it, and about time too, to be honest with you. Right, so like I say, let's chop the video up into little bits. Right. Side by side, the old DJM900 Nexus, the new DJM900 NXS2. Couple of things that will leap out to you straight away. This unit is slightly bigger, slightly longer. The old 900 had a little nose plate on the front of it there. You know, width were exactly the same, depth exactly the same, but it is a little bit longer. So if you think you're going to fit this into your DJM900 case, you're possibly going to have to make some alterations. Immediately, when you come to the top of the unit, you'll notice some different things. The finish on it, they've changed the finish. This was like it was quite glossy. They've gone for a matte look. I think it looks really pro. I like the look of it. But immediately can see straight away we've had some alterations here. The screen is different. We've got our send and return separate up here. But one thing I will say, and Pioneer do get this right every time, is the ergonomic layout of this. If you've been using one of these on a DJM900 or a DJM850 or a DJM750, you can rock up to this and you'll be able to rock up to this new one and it will instantly look familiar. It's not going to be like, oh my god, how do I use one of them? So if you step up to a nightclub and they've got one of these installed and you've been using one of these, I don't think you're going to have any problems whatsoever, because ergonomically it's all laid out the same. You'll notice how the colour effects pots have been made bigger. When we turn the unit on in a second, you'll see that we've got the beat effects lights across here. I think this is a really nice addition. So when you're selecting which channel you're going to be on, it lights up. Because the amount of times when I've stepped up, you know, mishap mic, when he gets hold of a mixer, if I can make it go wrong, I will. So the fact that it's going to be screaming out to me here where the beat effects are assigned to is going to make all the difference. The XY pad, I was never all that keen on it really, if I'm being totally honest with you, on the original. But now that it's clear, you know, when you can run your finger up and down, it's like it's got little raised up bits, like braille if you like, so you can feel where you are within the section, and it's clearly marked, you know, 1/16, 4 beat, 3/4 beat. So it's absolutely obvious from the onset. And another addition, we've got a set of clip lights, sound engineer's dream. So when you see these lighting up like a Christmas tree, you'll know we've got a naughty DJ who is driving it far too hard. I think with this though as well is that the sound, it sounds louder. To me it sounds louder, and I've always felt that some of the DJM mixers in the range, they tend to run, for the want of a better word, hot. Like, not hot as in temperature, but they're quite easy. I've seen many clubs where I've leaned over the DJ box, oh, and it's lit up like a Christmas tree. I think they've improved the sound engine on this to fix all them problems. And of course we're going to have this clip light situation where if you see that on, it's a new light for you to look at and go, ah yeah, maybe I need to pull this back a little bit. So straight away, side by side, you can see what's actually changed on the back of the units. This is the original 900 Nexus, this is the new. First thing that leaps out straight away, all gold terminals. Pro, should be just this way, absolutely, brilliant upgrade. Coming to the back of the unit, it is very similar. We've got these big grounding terminals, so that's a vast improvement as well. And we've got our Ethernet link here in the same place. We have lost our MIDI out on 5-pin DIN. This is no longer supported by this unit. I think you'll find that when it comes, they've had to give up some real estate here for the mic ports, and of course the mic ports were always on the top, so they've put 2 USBs in here now and then pushed the mic ports to the back. So, you know, it's still nearly about the same physical footprint, but, you know, we've had to squeeze a few more things in here to get it to work, being 2 USB ports on the top for your sound cards, pushing the mics to the back, and we've lost the MIDI out. But we've got a lot of MIDI support via USB, basically, on the top of the mixer. So what we're going to do next in the video is we'll get it hooked up and we'll see what sort of sounds and noises we can get out of it. Right, like I say, we've plugged it in. We're going to break it down into sections, covering the main bits of interest for ourselves. We've plugged it into the new DJM900 NXS2, which we will cover this product in a different video. For now, let's concentrate on the mixer. The first area I want to cover is the new sound colour effects. Now, not a lot of things have changed. We've got space, we've got dub echo, sweep, noise, crush and a filter. But this is the interesting point here. We've now got a new parameter knob, which to me, it's going to make all the difference. They've also made these bigger and chunkier. Just another slight improvement. There's lots of slight improvements on this mixer that don't necessarily jump out straight away, but when it comes to using it, I think you'll appreciate the fact that they've really thought about it. Anyway, let's get a track going. I always found that when we had a filter on, and you may have come across this when using some of the mixers, and we want to be concentrating on these lights here. I've got it purposely set going just into the green, but we're going to do a filter. And you'll see straight away, I've got that, it gained up, it went up. Now, that used to happen quite a lot in some of the other mixers. And when you've got a few things going on, I've deliberately set the levels low, but when you're starting playing at high levels, any gain that this is going to give you is going to make a difference. See, it went into the yellow again there. What we can do though now is we can change the parameters a little bit, and we still get our filter, but it's under control. So if I pull this back here now, I know it's probably not going to make a vast amount of difference when we're only bouncing into the yellow, but when we're driving the mixer quite hard and we're starting to get up to, you know, just starting to tickle it into the red, putting a filter on could cause it to clip out. So basically, what this parameter knob is going to give us is more control over that filter. See, now we're not peaking at all. It also changes the way the effect sounds. And the parameter knob does work in different ways for the different effects. See, straight away there, we've gone into the yellow. We've only gone for, because we want you to be able to hear what's going on and hear what I'm saying. That's not going to really matter at this point. But when we're starting to drive this mixer, any control that we've got here is going to make an absolute difference. Just going through some of the other effects, we've got our crush, and we can change the depth. I hope you can hear the sounds, the different sounds that parameter is causing. One of the things as well, we've got the noise. Now the noise was always there, but it was always difficult to control. It was always really loud. But what we can do here now, we can quieten it down using this parameter knob, which I think all of this is going to give us smoother mixing. We've got the space effect. That seems to be shortening the echo. Lengthening the echo within that. We've got a dub echo. And an old favourite from the DJM900, I believe, we've got the sweep. Again, using this parameter knob, getting different sounds out of it. I think that's a vast improvement to the colour effects section. That parameter knob for me is key. It's really going to help you use the effects much more smoothly. Right, the next section I would like to have a look at and concentrate on is the beat effect section down here. It looks familiar. It's one thing that Pioneer have nailed. They know how to, you know, you'll look at that and go, yeah, I think I can use that. It's not alien. It's the same format that they've stuck to for years, but there is some subtle changes that make some big differences. Right, we've got our level depth, we've got our timing knob, and we've got our select, where we want the effect to be routed to. And what I really like, if you notice over here, now we can see there is an indicator on the channel strip for where the effect is going, even right down to it being on the master and across to even onto the mics as well. So we've even got a mic. So I think that's another great little addition. Just flick that on there. Other things that have, you know, significantly changed and going to make a massive difference. And I think they've brought this in from the DJM900. We've now can affect different frequencies. So if we just want the mids to be affected by the effect that you select, you have the mid button lit. You can have it with all the frequencies, however you want it. And I think that's going to make it was a great feature of the DJM900, and I think it's only right that they've brought it in over here. Right, let's go up to the X-Pad. Now, I was never a huge fan of the X-Pad. I could never really, it wasn't accurate enough. Say that, or I basically wasn't good enough to use it properly. But I do believe that I could use this a lot simpler. It's clearly marked out. They've made it a little bit bigger. It's even got raised bits like braille, so you can feel when your fingers on the right part of the X-Pad. And it's broke down into 1/16, 4, 2, 1, 3/4 beats. So you can see exactly where you're going to be. If you're going to, great for when you're doing rolls and you know you just want to roll one beat, or you want to roll half a beat, you can jump straight in there. And I think that's going to make it so much more accurate and make some of these effects more usable. There's a couple of new effects on here. There is a ping pong, which is like an echo that goes from, it sort of like flies from one speaker to the other speaker. I think it would sound really cool in a big club that's wired up properly in the sound, and you can make it like the echo run around the room, around the sound system. We've got this helix effect, which I'm going to show you in a second, and we've got a vinyl break on here as well. So the first effect I'd like us to have a look at is the new helix effect. We're not going to go through all effects because there's just, you know, some of these we've been living with for a while, but let's have a look at this new helix effect. I'm just going to affect the mid-ranges. We've got a loop set up over here, so it's just the same track repeating over and over again. And let's turn it on. And then using the XY pad, really smooth. I really like how that works. It's you know, for me, and the fact that I'm only affecting that mid-range, I don't want the rest of the song to be affected. Okay, vinyl break. Been very popular effect at the minute. You know, we've seen it in a lot of the controllers, and they've incorporated it over here. Now, the way it can be used, we're using a couple of different ways on this mixer. So we'll just get a track going again. It's our same loop that we used before, and we've got it set to 3/4. So, right, you can see I only because I only had the mid and the high. The beat's still going. We want it to. But what I also like, without even having this pressed, I can jump into the X pad here and do a break, say on. And if you notice here, when I press this is flashing down here, but I can use it that way as well. Now what I have noticed is we can jump in with some of these effects as well. So if I just go back to the helix, and if we go, didn't have that depressed, so that button is not flashing, so effects aren't engaged, but I can jump in over here. I think that's a really nice feature on the X pad. Right, another effect I'd like to cover is the roll. Now, we all know what the roll is. It's been in the mixers since right back to the DJM900, I believe. But again, using this X pad, it's going to be more simplified to use. So I'll just quickly jump in and I'll show you what I mean. Again, I'm going to use it without having this button on. I'm going to jump in on the X pad. So if we want to roll one beat, but also what we can do, if we take the low off, we can just roll the mids and the highs. I just think there could be a lot of uses, and I think, you know, I was never one for using the roll a lot, but I could certainly think I'll be using the roll a lot more now that I can use it and see exactly where I'm going to be with it with this new X pad. Next one, you're not going to be able to really hear what the effect's doing on here, but this is going back to this effect that I mentioned earlier, the ping pong, which is like an echo that bounces around the room and it goes from left to right. I think it will sound really good on a big sound system in a nightclub. Used correctly, I think it'll sound great. What I'll do is we'll let you have a listen, but I don't think you'll get the full effect. I think it is much more dramatic when you're working with a big full sound system. So again, remember we've got our beat control here. So if I just want it to be on one beat, and I can control. So say going back to this section, forget about the X pad where I've just been jumping in wherever I want. You know, these two buttons here, our beat, are still very much, you know, needed, because I want to know when I switch this button on that we're going to be on 4. Two, 3/4. But also I can still use this effect like I was showing you earlier. Right, the next section I'd like to look at has been the big seller for me. This has been the one that reason that I'm having to have this mixer in my life. It's this section up here. We've got a new send and return section. Send and return used to be down on here, and for those people that like to use external effects machines and things like that, you basically lost, you had to switch it to send and return here, and then you ended up losing the ability to be able to use your send and return or your effects together. But now we've got two sections because we've got a separate send and return up here, because you can see we've got a button, right? Now it's usual send and return on 1/4" jacks on the back, but we've also got this USB send and return, which I think is really interesting. And as you can see, I've got something plugged in here already. I think this is probably in its infancy still, but we've all seen these DJs, Mr. James Zabila, who likes to use all these wonderful external effects. Now, it's always been a bit of a pain to wire them in, but as you can see now, I've got my iPad and I've wired this straight in. One of my favourite apps that I love playing around with because it is so simple to use is the Novation Launchpad. And I've tried using it, just taking the audio source out of the headphone port, and it's worked, but you just haven't got as much control. But now I've plugged it into here. I think this is in its infancy. I think there's going to be a lot of apps you're going to see come on board. I know Pioneer do one. There's the app, the RMX1000 app, which is basically, it looks like an RMX1000. But I wanted to show you it working with this. Very simply, just to sort of open the ideas of why this is quite an exciting aspect. Because, you know, what I've got going on here, I'll just turn all the beats that I've got going on. So, right, so, and this isn't a demonstration of Launchpad, but this is like a demonstration of what possibly you could do. So I've got my effect routed to channel 3, so I'm on this channel strip. We've still got our CDJ over here, and we've triggered one of the samples off on Launchpad. I think there's going to be loads of different apps that's going to end up being developed for this, and I think, like I say, it's very much in its infancy. So we could get a vocal going. And let's get some percussion. Right, okay, now what we can do is we can still affect it. So I've got that vocal there, and I'm only affecting the mid-range. But bringing this into the mix with something else. Now, I'm not using any headphones, so this might not be bang on, because it's not going to sync. You know, this is set at 125 beats per minute, and this is at 125 beats per minute, but we're possibly going to have to do some pitch bending from this side. So we'll just whack it on and see how we go. So now we've got our track playing. We can add some other bits and bobs in if we want, change the percussion. Get an idea of where I'm getting there. Again, I ain't no James Zabila, and James, if you're watching, I'm sorry about that little demonstration, but I think the message got across. So I think this is a really interesting aspect, and then the fact that I can also still have my quarter-inch jacks plugged in the back for standard send and return, and I could just flick it over and I could have my RMX working as well. That for me, oh, brilliant. my little look into the DJM900 NXS2. I'm sure there's going to be loads of other videos out there. I'm really looking forward to it becoming my new best friend. Do I think it's better than the old one? Absolutely. It sounds better. It definitely sounds better. It sounds great with vinyl. We've got a PLX turntable over there, and it just sounded better. Everything sounds better about it. I think a lot of the improvements have been on the sound. I like the new effects, the couple of new effects there, really nice. I like the parameter knob that we can change and control the colour effects a lot easier. Little touches that we've got a small jack and a big jack here, so when you turn up at the nightclub and you've lost your little gold adapter off your headphones, it's not going to cause a nightmare anymore. Other little things, the EQ and isolator switch here, which was apparent in all of them. You know, this mixer sounds that much better. I used to always use it in isolator mode on the previous model. I think I would actually now use this with the EQ mode. It sounds so much better. And there's a crossfader for the scratch guys. It's one of the new Magville faders, as seen in the DJM900, which is very much a scratch item. I don't think it's exactly the same one as the DJM900. I think that one's using a Pro one, but it's very light, and you've got your crossfade adjustment here. I think the scratch guys will have no problem there, but trust me, you don't want me trying to demonstrate scratching. It's hard enough me trying to demonstrate any kind of mixing. In closing, unfortunately, I've had to part with some money because there's one of these in my man cave at home now, which I've had to sneak past the wife. And she will find out. That's Mike at Phase 1. It's a DJM900 NXS2. Click the link, it'll take you through to our website. Cheers.